So a budget phone comparison, and to be honest, what better thing to do on my channel than a couple of old Pixels. We've got the Pixel 5a from 2021 and I've also got last year's Pixel 6a, but which one's better to buy in 2023? So I'm just going to quickly compare the specs of both of these phones, and a lot of what I say are going to be quite similar between the two. You get a 6.3 inch OLED display on the Pixel 5a and you get an ever so slightly smaller 6.1 inch OLED display on the Pixel 6a. Both support HDR content and both are protected with Corning Gorilla Glass 3. That is down from the Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the Pixel 5, and both have a hole punch cutout. You get one in the top left hand corner of the Pixel 5a and then it's up in the top center of the Pixel 6a. And overall both displays are really nice. They're nice and bright, vivid, detailed, both at over 400 pixels per inch. The only thing that's lacking on both of these displays is any sort of high refresh rate. We've got a 60 Hz refresh rate on both of these phones. Unfortunately, that isn't something they introduced to the A series of phones until this year's Pixel 7a, where they put a 90 Hz display. So unfortunately, if you're looking for a high refresh rate display on a Pixel phone, you're not going to get that on the 5a or on the 6a. You're going to have to go to the Pixel 5 or the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro, something like that. But like I said, overall both of the displays on both of these phones are really great, and the overall build of both of the phones is really nice too. Although it's a plastic coated aluminium body on the Pixel 5, it does feel quite nice. It's smooth, it's nice and grippy. But on the Pixel 6a, it is an all plastic design, despite having the same design as the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. So of course you've got two very different designs with both of these phones, and the same dual camera system on the back, just of course in a visor design on the 6a, and then that square camera arrangement on the Pixel 5a that was found in a few generations back as well. Although going back to the design of the 6a, it's actually an aluminium frame wrapping around the phone, which you can definitely feel when it's out of the case. You can definitely feel that it's a slightly more premium feel on the surround of the phone. And you do also get full IP67 water and dust resistance on both the Pixel 5a and the Pixel 6a. So if you drop your phone in a bucket of water or in the bath or something like that, you'll be absolutely fine on both of these phones. You do get a headphone jack on the Pixel 5a, but that is something that they removed from the Pixel 6a. So if you're a little bit old school and like using wired headphones, the 5a is going to be the phone for you. But I'd imagine 90% of people are going to be using wireless earbuds, which of course you can still do on the 5a, but that's your only option on the Pixel 6a. And you do get a set of stereo speakers on both of these phones, so if you're watching a bit of video or something like that without using headphones, of course you're going to get a nice immersive sound from both of these phones. And because of course both phones using OLED panels, you do get an always on display on both of these phones, which can give you notification information and weather and of course the time and stuff like that. So that's something that's pretty great on both of these phones. You will find that it might take a little toll on the battery life, but I'll get more into the battery life in a minute. As for RAM and storage options, both of these phones only come in one configuration. It's 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, which is non-expandable. And performance is taken care of on the Pixel 5a by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G, built on a 7nm process. And of course the Pixel 6a uses Google's Tensor chip, which was first debuted in the 6 and the 6 Pro, which offers vastly improved performance over the 765G, but doesn't improve on efficiency. And that brings me on to the battery life of both of these phones. You get a 4,680 mAh battery in the Pixel 5a and a 4,410 mAh battery in the Pixel 6a. Now, battery between both of these two, despite having a very similar sized battery, the Pixel 5a absolutely kills the 6a in terms of battery endurance, and I can only put that down to the efficiency, or lack of efficiency should I say, of the Google Tensor chip. Even standby isn't the best on the Pixel 6a. I found that the battery life on the 5a can easily get me through 2 days of light to moderate use, whereas I was struggling to get through a day on the Pixel 6a with that same sort of use case. So if you want something that's going to give you some really great battery life, the Pixel 5a is definitely going to be the one for you. But if you are someone that's going to favour performance or something like that, the Pixel 6a is going to be your option. But of course, it's not anywhere near as good as the 5a in terms of battery life. And both of these phones only support 18-watt wired charging with no wireless charging to speak of either. That's just obviously for the flagships. So they're not the fastest at charging, but like I said, the 5a battery life has been absolutely amazing, rivaling my iPhone 14 Plus in terms of its endurance. And of course, in terms of software, both phones are running the new Android 13. When the Pixel 5a was released, it was using Android 11, and then of course Android 12 on the Pixel 6a. Both have been upgraded to Android 13, and you're probably going to get another year of software and security updates on the Pixel 5a, and then another couple of years, of course, on the 6a being that little bit newer. So in terms of software, of course, both of the phones handle everything very well. There's no bloatware or anything like that. Apps open very quickly on both of the phones. Neither phone feels sluggish to use because of the 60 Hz refresh rates. Everything is really smooth. I haven't missed it as such, but I do appreciate a high refresh rate display when I move on to a phone with that kind of refresh rate. Of course, my iPhone 14 Plus doesn't have one, so I'm kind of in between whether I need one or not. But like I say, it is nice when I do switch to a phone that has got a high refresh rate display. And lastly, if I quickly talk about the cameras of both of these phones, you get the same 12 megapixel f1.7 primary camera on both of these phones, but on the Pixel 5a you actually get a higher resolution 16 megapixel f2.2 119 degree field of view ultra wide, whereas on the Pixel 6a you get a 12 megapixel 114 degree field of view f2.2 ultra wide. So the ultra wide on the Pixel 5a is actually wider than the Pixel 6a, and that is definitely noticeable in the photos. But overall, photos from both phones come out really great. Processing time is of course quicker on the Pixel 6a thanks to that Tensor chip, which just processes the images a lot faster than the Pixel 5a. But even waiting for the photos to process on the 5a, I'm just blown away by how great they are still a couple of years later. They do still rival flagship phones of today 100%. Loads of detail, loads of natural color, and great contrasty looking photos that is typical of Pixel phones, and that's what I really like. And of course the main camera is very, very similar. You do get a higher quality image. It's a wider f1.7 aperture, so you get more depth of field in the photos. And again, natural color. There isn't any color shift between using both phones. Of course, in slightly dimmer conditions, you do notice that the images are softer on the ultra wide, but of course that's down to a narrower aperture, a lower quality sensor, and chances are a smaller sensor. But overall, the photos on both of these phones are absolutely great. I really like the results from both of them. I have actually found myself in certain things going to use the Pixel 5a for the photos over my iPhone 14 Plus because I just prefer the more high dynamic range photos and contrasty images that the Pixel produces. Of course, that can be said for the Pixel 6a as well. So overall, picture quality on both of these phones is absolutely fantastic. I've got nothing to complain about. Video wise isn't quite the same story. They do both top out at 4K at up to 60 FPS, but Google Pixels have never been known for their high quality video. But overall, camera systems on both of these phones are really, really great. Portrait mode does a great job at subject separation. And yeah, even though it does crop in, even though it doesn't have a telephoto camera, whenever you switch to portrait mode, it does crop in a little bit. And the same can be said for the selfie cameras as well. They both use the same 8 megapixel f2.0 camera, and of course photos from both phones are absolutely great. Plenty of detail, again, nice portrait shots with good subject separation, great contrast, nice and detailed, more detailed than what I found on higher resolution selfie cameras. Check out my Pixel 4 XL and Huawei Mate 20 Pro comparison video for more info on that. But overall, cameras on both of these phones are absolutely great. I've got nothing to complain about. Even the video is not great. It's not enough for me to complain too much about it. I don't take huge amounts of video other than this sort of thing anyway. But yeah, overall, pretty great on both of these phones. And unfortunately, video does just top out at 1080p at 30 FPS coming from both of these selfie cameras. So again, it's not the best. A lot of phones these days have 4K video support on the main camera. The Pixel 5a, okay, yeah, all right, maybe 1080p, but I really would have thought the Pixel 6a would have supported 4K video from the front camera, but unfortunately it doesn't. The one thing, as I'm looking at this phone, that I have forgot to mention is the biometrics on both of these phones. Neither support any face unlock, but you do get a rear mounted fingerprint sensor on the Pixel 5a and an in-display fingerprint scanner on the Pixel 6a, both which are really fast, really responsive. Even with the screen protector on the 6a, I've not had any instances of it missing my fingerprint, so I haven't got any complaints with that. So that's my look at both the Pixel 5a and the Pixel 6a in 2023. Overall, they're both really great phones, but personally, as a complete package, I would definitely pick the Pixel 5a because of that battery life. It's just considerably better than the Pixel 6a. Photo quality is identical coming from both phones. Performance is very similar unless you're playing high demanding games, of course, the Pixel 6a is going to be better. And of course, it's going to be supported for longer, for software updates and all that sort of stuff. But if you can pick up a Pixel 5a for what I did, 150 quid, to get you a really great all-round phone with a fantastic camera, 2-day battery life easily, and another year of software updates, I think you've got yourself a really good deal. But let me know down in the comments what you think of both of these phones. Would you consider buying either of these phones? And I am going to be working on a standalone Pixel 6a review video in 2023, so subscribe to keep an eye out for that coming in the next few weeks. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, please subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more on the way, and I've got a lot more on my channel. Check out these Pixel videos if you're interested in seeing more, and I'll see you in the next video.